everyone, it's Bonner here from Neuropark. Today I'm starting a new series called Neuropark Chatter and Hounds. And this will be full of topics that are important for our dog parents, dog trainers, behaviorists, etc. Those ones who use Neuropark and those ones who are just interested in some of the science bits that we're going to be talking about. Today we're going to start talking about reactivity. So let's go. Now, everybody knows what reactivity is, right? But to many, reactivity can explain a lot of different behavior patterns that a dog might show, like barking, lunging, growling, nipping, biting, or a dog making itself smaller behind a chair, tucking its tail between its legs, starting to shiver because there are noises like fireworks, etc. So there's many behaviors that we use the term reactivity for to generalize when we communicate with other people to tell them what we think we see. Now, such terms like reactivity and others, they really come from folk psychology. So this is a common sense thinking where we think we can explain what is happening by our subjective experiences, so what's happening to me. So these ideas really explain how we think in dog training about that the brain is somewhat dormant, awaiting stimulation so it can learn what is happening on the outside and then change its behavior. Again, we have to be a little bit careful because those ideas don't really match up what we see when we look at the brain and the nervous system. If we think of a ball going 100 kilometers an hour as a stimuli and light reflecting of that ball hitting the retina, it will take approximately 100 milliseconds plus to transduce and compress those signals of that ball. During that time, while compression is happening, the ball, however, has already traveled another 3.8 meters. To avoid error or being hit, the brain calculates action plans to place the eyes fovea, anticipating where the ball will be using past experience. Let's observe this using a simple game. So you see the dogs are already anticipating something is going to happen. I have nothing yet in my hands, but now I'm going to take my treats and I pretend to throw the treats. The dogs anticipate the treats to fall somewhere. That's why they move. They do it again, and eventually I throw them behind me. Let's look at it in slow motion. Let's observe the movements closely. The motor movements we observe have been calibrated by each dog's brain milliseconds to seconds before. The brain's calibrations are ongoing, so therefore we see more and more movements. So let's just watch. So Indy, the German short-hair pointer, is clearly ready. She is already anticipating the movements. She thinks when I take the hand out that the treats are coming. She's barking at me. You can see the shadows of the other dogs. They're staring at me. Totally focused because they're waiting for the treats to fly. So the movements are already calibrated, but they're playing out depending on the movements I make. So these are interactions. They're not reactions, they're interactions. So the calibrating is ongoing. And with each motor change they have to do in what the difference is between what the brain had calibrated, these are all what we call error updates. So there's a lot to do for the brain and the body at this moment in time. And look at Harry's eyes. They're wide open, so as much light as possible can hit the retina. They speed up very quickly because they want to catch up with where the treats may land. and Harry habituates to my movements very quickly. He realizes very quickly that no treats have been thrown. The others have been walking for me for a while as well, but not as long as Harry. So Harry knows my movements. He anticipates very well. So now he's predicting again that I'm eventually going to throw. Again, he anticipates to go forward. Very quickly, the errors are adjusted and he stops. Very efficient this time. And now he's looking where the treat's going to fall. I just throw them behind me. He moves forward again. He tries to pick up speed to see where they land, but it's a bit too slow. So now he has to check my hand to see that I've thrown him. And now he has to use a different sensor. So he has to use the olfactory system to do the same thing as with vision, but in a different way. Now he has to use the olfaction and anticipate where it may be, and then random walk and explore. And so wherever there is the most difference in smell, they will go towards, and that's how they circle into where the treat is going to be. That is very efficient as well. So random walk are not necessarily as random. It's just called random because they look random to us when it goes very quickly. As soon as you slow it down, you see there is regularity to it. So this is a different example of what people call reactive. Here it's Archie's brain has anticipated this is something scary. He's using the most efficient action as possible to minimize uncertainty. So he's barking, he's trying to make it move. And then he sees that I'm moving it, and so now he has to do a lot of error updating. So he sniffs first, he pretends it's not there, and I keep knocking on it. And he says, no, that's something scary. No. So he's still using his most efficient behavior patterns, so movements, deciding this is threat, I don't want to be close to it. Again, like he uses barking, he uses all different ways to find out more information about this black blob and the green area.
Nothing scary. Good boy.
So this is a big error update.
Good boy. Yes.
Give him a big cuddle to do that. That was very expensive to do that for him.
Look there. See? Nothing scary.
It's when we acknowledge these observations as anticipated action patterns interacting with the environment, then we realize the so-called triggers aren't what we see, but what is in the past for the dog, him or herself. This is why I always emphasize to give your dog full agency at Neuropark, so you can learn from your dog by his anticipated movements within the space. Rather than brains being dormant, waiting for stimulation so reactions can occur, we learned today that living beings always engage in reciprocal interaction with the environment, which us humans and other life forms are part of. To change the environment does receive sensory inputs, so from the eyes, ears, nose, taste and touch, but also from the sensorium in the body. The sensors therefore measure whether predicted actions are efficient and accurate, so kind of matching. If the inputs and outputs deviate too much, inputs are compressed as error signals to update predictions to new action patterns. This does all sound rather difficult to follow, and it feels so much easier to fall back to thinking we see reactive processes. But it is a profoundly important difference, especially when we try to grasp at causes of behaviors only relying on our visual and verbal observations, especially when we correlate behavior with energy regulation. But on energy regulations, we have more on a further episode. Letting dogs interact and self-evidence agency, anticipated actions and movements, rather than only manipulating movements through command and control, does have a profound impact on resilience and energy regulations and the experience of immense confidence.